We are back this week to the Hooper's Almanac, and Adam and I have one thing and one thing only we're doing this week. We are re-tiering the NBA. We start every year by giving out tiers, over unders for the every NBA team, and we are coming into this back half of the year. We're basically smack dab in the middle of the year. Some teams have played
Mhm.
40, 41, or 42 games. We even have a 44 with the Cavs, and they've played 44 games so far. Some teams have clearly passed the midway point in the year, but we are right around that midway point in the NBA season. We're a few weeks before All-Star break, and Adam and I just want to re-tier where teams would be, whether they're a contender, firmly a playoff team, or they're just not even talked about, or they shouldn't be even talked about making an issue. Already be thinking about drafting someone, trying to fly down in the bottom of the draft. So, a lot to talk about, but a lot of exciting things to get into. But before we get going, here are our friends from Green Top. It is re-tiering time, Adam, and honestly, it's great we're doing this today. We're doing it on MLK Day, and it's one of my favorite days in the NBA because you can watch games from 11 a.m. Central to basically midnight. And there was a lot of fun games today. Some crazy blowouts too. I mean, the Mavs crushing the Knicks on national television, crazy. But there was a lot of fun also today. I mean, Clippers Wizards was a blast. I don't know if you watched that at all. But
I just
there
saw the
was
score. I just saw the score of that. But I know the Knicks you just mentioned, that's their fourth straight loss. They got smacked by Dallas today. So I was checking that score all day, obviously, and that was, yeah, a shocking one. So you're right. MLK Day is like a great NBA day. It's like an underrated, like, tons of teams playing, games all day. No, it's awesome. And this is the perfect time to do this because we wanted to wait. We thought about doing this last week, but it's like, if we wait a week, then everyone will have played 41 games. So it's like we
yep.
can really take stock of like where the league stands. And I checked that just for a second because I was like, oh, maybe is there any team that haven't? But yeah, there's a couple of teams that are still at 41 exactly, and everyone else is at like kind of 42, 43, 44. So yeah, this is like the perfect time to do this. And there's some teams who are going to be, let's say, quite different than where we had them at the start of the year.
Well, it's not only that. I think also we had some quick reactions to some other teams early on, like the Clippers, who looked absolutely terrible, and they've now found themselves in the 10th spot in the West, and so
Yep.
they're making a whole new run. The Blazers are also a team that I think I know I was higher on than you are, and they're now a 9 seed, and they're both them and the Clippers are 8-2 in their last 10 games. Um, so there's a lot to talk about, but we're going to start with the Eastern Conference. As we've done now for 5 years on the Hooper's Almanac, we have our four tiers: the Bill Russell, the contenders, the Tracy McGrady, the playoff teams, the Pat Bev. We've annulled it to just the Pat Bev, not the Cat class anymore. It's the Pat Bev play-in teams and the Clark Kellogg lottery teams that we have for each conference. And so, Adam, I'll start here. We'll start with the Bill Russell. We'll start with the contenders. How many teams do you have, and what teams do you have in this tier for the Eastern Conference?
And so for clarity for everybody else, this is not necessarily like which teams can win the East. We're
No.
saying they're championship contenders. They can
Yes.
win the title. We think they're in the inner circle of teams that can actually win the NBA championship. So for the Eastern Conference, I have zero.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, that is awesome and also terrifying because I think that is the first time we've ever had zero teams from a conference in this tier. Um, really, you don't even think one team is like the capability of beating a Western Conference team.
No, because I think if I knew exactly who the Western Conference team is, there are a couple teams who, I mean, Detroit's in first and they're up by 6 games. Detroit's been awesome, better
Yeah,
than anybody anticipated.
beat the
Love
Celtics
watching them
tonight.
play. Yeah, love watching them play. Yeah, 1 point game tonight. Obviously, yeah, big game, top of the Eastern Conference. I'm going to get to see them play in person in a couple times here on this road trip in about a
You
month.
sure
So,
were.
super excited about that. But like, I don't think like if it's any of those top like four teams in the West, I would favor all four of those teams over Detroit. And so it's like, do I make my contender tier bigger, or do I really say like I actually think these four teams are more likely to win the championship than this one team in the East? And I believe that. I believe the top four in my West are all more likely to win the championship. Now, maybe more like that's the wrong word because like obviously only one team can come out of the West, so maybe that's the wrong way to phrase it. But I do think all four of those teams, like if they were to play in a series, I would favor them over the Pistons. So yeah, that's my thinking behind that. But the Pistons were the one that I was like, okay, I need to at least consider them. But ultimately, I said no.
I love that we've just discredited the Knicks because they have looked so bad. Like you said, they lost four straight now. But even still, over this past, like, I don't know, 3 weeks, their record has been absolutely abysmal. They're 2-8 in their last 10.
Yep.
Um, and it hasn't looked great. I don't have them. I have the Pistons and a Jason Tatum return pending the Boston Celtics.
So that is the one that I was like, man, if I could see that, if I could see what he looks like, I could see them. I actually could see them win the title if he's like
Right.
90% of Jason Tatum. And they still might need to make another move on the rosters elsewhere. But yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so it's hard for me to
No,
like.
I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
that. And this is like the one time you and I ever like you more specifically than me, you ever project. Like we only like this is like you are not big like, hey, we can't project things, which I appreciate that about you. We're like, here's what we know and let's work off that. It's like but this is like the one time a year I get you to project like what we're forward thinking. And in my mind, I'm projecting a Tatum return and in my head it's like it's not going to be I can't think it's going to be what it was before he got hurt. I'm not expecting him to go throw up 44 in Madison Square Garden
yeah.
against
No,
the Knicks. What I'm hoping
that's just unfair to him, honestly. Like to expect like
absolutely
peak Jason Tatum, immediately.
absolutely I'm expecting a second third option like for the Celtics behind Tatum and even maybe even White. But just to be that's the thing, and like to be a body to rebound. That's the thing the Celtics have struggled with this season is defensive rebounding. They can get offensive rebounds, and we talked about it a few weeks ago when we talked Celtics. But just having him on the court, he was the best rebounder for the Celtics for the past 4 or 5 years, honestly. And so, just having him out there is such a big key. And he's also a really good defender now. I'm sure his speed on defense isn't going to be there right at the beginning. So, my hope my thought process is if he can be even the second guy to how good Brown has been this year, I think the Celtics and I think the Pistons. I think you're right in the fact that you can actively like think. I think 9 times out of 10 the Pistons would lose to the Thunder. However, there's that one time where I think Jalen Duren will ruin Chet Holmgren's life on the boards. Like, listen, Hartenstein and Chet could play that whole entire series together, and so I mean, Hartenstein will probably be working on Duren the entire time, but the minutes where Hartenstein's off the floor and it's Chet versus him getting to get rebounds, or hell, even Isaiah Stewart and him, I'm choosing one of those two guys to get boards, and that's where OKC has shown that they can get hurt, and also Detroit's defense is something that I think can also exploit like how bad that we've talked about the half court offense of OKC has been this year. And I think that's what Detroit's been so well at in this past like month or so, has just exploiting teams with bad off half court defense offenses.
Yeah, and those are all obviously fair points. And Detroit, for me, I mean, they're right there. They're right there.
Sure.
So like, and the Knicks still like, I mean, if they got their act together, like I saw them on New Year's Eve. That was a great game against the Spurs. And they have stretches where like their offense looks awesome, but I think they're just in this malaise right now. They're just kind of in that like dog days of the season, but they really shouldn't be because the seeding is going to matter. And if Tatum comes back and Boston has home court in like a 2-3 matchup, that's a very, very tough out for the Knicks. Like that is
Oh
like
yeah.
all of a sudden a toss up series. That's not like one of those where I would favor New York. That's a toss up series. If Tatum's back. So obviously, right now, I assume if we're taking the Celtics as presently constructed, no Tatum, they're obviously not in this tier, for either one of us. But I think it's fair to say, hey, if we get 90% of Jason Tatum, that team can actually be there. I would put them with the Pistons. I wouldn't vault them over but I'd put them kind of with the Pistons, maybe in that tier if that's what we get from Jason Tatum. I just want to see it first, but the Pistons, the thing for me is shooting. It's like the only thing that I need selling on is like they just. I think in a playoff series, like when these teams are dialed in, you prepare for them, like 2 weeks at a time. Like they're just going to play off a lot of these dudes. Like it's going to be so different. And if you're missing threes and it kind of compounds, like you just like it's just tough to score in the playoffs when everybody's like super dialed in to like all these matchups and you can load up on Cade and take away some of the lob threat stuff. Like that's just tougher to do. So that's like my one reservation about the Pistons still is the lack of shooting. But they're awesome. I mean, love watching them play. I'm so glad they're this good. Like the East needed
Yeah.
it. Like, it would have been like really bad if this was just like they're 31-10 right now. If they were like even just like 27-14, like it's just like man, like we need one really good Eastern Conference team, and I'm glad that they've brought it so far.
Well, and yeah, it's like you said, the Knicks have been in the malaise. The Celtics, while they've been playing really well, it is kind of there's nice when you're like, why is this team? How is this team this good? Um, so it is one of those things you're like, okay, what are we getting out of the Eastern Conference, like you're saying, and it's good to have one of those top tier teams. It feels like right. So if you don't have anyone in the Russell contenders class, you must have a bunch in this McGrady tier then.
Yes, I mean, yeah, obviously I have to. There's going to be a point where you just got to have some teams in this.
Right.
So yes, I it sucks to have the Pistons in the same tier as some of these guys because they are clearly better than some of them. But yeah, but I have 7 teams
Oh
in the
gosh.
next tier. In the next year, I'm actually going to cut one right now. Kind of as we're talking, I'm going to go with 6. I'll go with six
Good. I
teams.
was gonna say, listen,
Um,
because we got to do the math real quick, because there's 6 teams that make the
yeah,
playoffs for sure.
yeah. So I'll make one cut. So Pistons for sure, obviously would be the top of this tier. Celtics Knicks would be kind of that next grouping. I would have them kind of together right now with the Celtics with the ability to jump up. Obviously, if we get Tatum back, and then the Raptors and Sixers would be my next one that I would for sure have. And I'm still going to keep the Cavs in this top 6.
Mm.
The Magic is the team I'm going to drop down into that next tier. So Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, Raptors, Sixers, Cavs in that tier for me.
You have still the faith in the Cavaliers
I
after
do.
all these days.
I can't quit the Cavaliers.
It. I'll say this. Me and you, I think were most. Well, actually, I know I was most wrong about the Raptors. I had them in the play-in, but I did not think that they were going to be this good. I think I had them at the bottom of the play-in. Whenever I was just thinking about it at the beginning of the year, you and I were kind of in lockstep about the Cavs, and the Cavs have been just ruining us. I mean, we had them in the contender tier to start the year, and they are now fighting to be in a playoff team. Like it's one of those things, and they've been okay recently. They lost. What was it last night, or they lose today? And it's just been. It never feels like it's consistent enough for them to stretch 3 wins in this season. They
No,
lost.
I know. They show flashes, and you're like, okay, like the Cavs are back, and then Garland goes out, and it's like, oh man. I mean, Struess still has not played. Like, so it's they just can't quite seem to find any sort of rhythm.
Yeah, I mean they lost to the Thunder, but they lost by 32. And
Yeah,
then they
both.
did beat the Sixers in back to back games, but then before that they lost to the Jazz. So it's like, okay, can we get some? And then they split the Timberwolves back and forth. There's just some nights you're like, okay, you look good. Like the second Philly game when it was close, they only won by 2, but it was like, okay, you can beat a team in a close matchup. That's great.
Yep.
Um, and that was like the Jalen Tyson game when he throws up 39, which was crazy.
He's been really
But
good.
he is a lot of fun. But it's one of those things. So I'll say this: I did not have them. I flipped them in the Magic.
Okay.
I have the Knicks, Raptors, Magic, and Sixers are my 4 teams in this tier. Um, the Sixers surprised me as well. I think I know I had them as a play-in team. Um, and they have looked really good. And Maxi has earned his All Star starter spot, which that
For
got
sure.
announced in the past 24 hours, and so it's been good to see um, this team. I mean, and I hate saying how much fun I've enjoyed watching the Sixers because they have been very enjoyable. And Embiid's playing better. Like
Yeah.
he's actually like playing himself into shape, and that's terrifying in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and this is another team. Like, man, I'm glad they're good because this East would be so much worse if they were just
Mhm.
like like a ho hum 15 and whatever 26 team. Like it's so nice that they've actually surprised and been really good because we needed another kind of solid playoff team in the East. We did not need another Atlanta. We did not need another Milwaukee. We definitely did not need another Charlotte or Chicago. So I'm glad they've been largely healthy, and Maxi and Edgecombe have been such a fun backcourt. So I do like, and I actually kind of believe in them as like a potential playoff like threat. Like I actually think like they can win a series. Like they're pretty legit. So it'd be nice if they could get home court in that 4-5 matchup against, so they could play either Orlando or Toronto or Cleveland. I think if they had home court against any of those teams, I'd probably favor them.
I'm done with a. I don't need another Raptors Sixers matchup. It feels like we've had a bunch of those. Like it feels like we've had those in like Celtics Hawks or Celtics Heat for a bunch of these years. If we can get a Sixers Magic, I'd be a happy man because that'd be two totally different teams.
Yeah,
Uh,
that actually would be a lot of fun. The more I was looking at that, I was like, actually, right when I said, I was like, Sixers Magic, that'd be pretty fun, actually.
yeah, that'd be a blast. Okay, our Pat Bev play-in tier. You have the Magic. I have the Cavs. I will start. I have the Heat, and
I do, I do
they've
too.
been.
Yep, I do too.
And another team who surprised us with how well they played. I had belief that Spo. I had them in the play-in tier to start the year, but I had the belief that Spo would figure this out. And then he brought in the Memphis offensive coordinator and said, "Hey, we'll run your offense this year." Um, I have Atlanta, although since the trade, Jalen Johnson did play very well today, but he had not played well in his first few games since McCollum and Kispert have been there. And I'll say this: I can't quit my Chicago Bulls. I am now. They might be horrific to watch on nights, but my God, I can't quit them because it's either them and Charlotte. I will not put the Bucks in this tier. I can't do it with how bad they are when Giannis is off the floor. Um, when he's playing, he's great, but I can't do it because Charlotte's also looked fairly good. I mean, with how well they've played the last few games. But I have the Magic. I have the Cavs, Heat, Bulls, and Hawks. So everyone that's actually in the play-in tier to start right now.
Okay, so I am gonna make a couple projections and tweaks here. Let's get a little fun. The Bucks are horrendous without Giannis. Like
Really?
horrendous. It sucks. Like I feel so bad for him because he's been a monster this season. But um, I do think they're gonna be buyers though
They
at the
have
trade
to be.
deadline, and I actually am gonna have them jumping Atlanta and getting into this tier as well. And then let's just be really fun because they've played better lately, and I think we can keep this up. And I think the Bulls maybe will go the other way. Or I mean, although the Bulls are like exactly where they want to be, right? 20 and 22, it's like
Yep. Uh huh.
perfect. That is just the Chicago Bulls of the 2020s. But I'm actually going to go Charlotte Hornets in this tier and drop out the Chicago Bulls. So take out the Bulls, Hawks from your tier. And I'm going to add the Bucks and Hornets. Now that Bucks one could obviously totally come back and bite me if Giannis goes down for even like 5 games, much less like 15. So that's just a total shot in the dark. But my faith in Giannis and their ability to maybe go get one more kind of decent player that could help them a little bit when Giannis is off the floor, we'll see. But Charlotte genuinely has started to play a lot better, and guys are healthy. They've kind of found a nice rotation. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
you're good.
jeez.
And
Sorry. Yeah.
they've had one of the best offenses in the
Yes.
NBA since the start of the new year. They because since the start of the year, since they've beaten OKC, they've beaten the Jazz, the Lakers, and the Nuggets all within the start of the new year. Now they did lose to the Pacers, gross. They lost to
Yeah.
the Raptors, uh, and they lost to the Clippers. And the Clippers have been playing pretty well, and the
Well,
Warriors.
and they blew out a couple of those teams. Like they weren't even close games, so they've
No, I mean
looked pretty
the
good.
Thunder blowout was crazy,
Yeah.
and then they beat the Jazz by 55,
Yeah.
and then the Lakers win was by 18. No, their offense has a like their offense is so good. Like yeah, against the Nuggets, they beat the Nuggets by 23 last night. And in that game, Miller was over 20. I mean, here's my favorite thing is if you have multiple guys over 20. But in this game, they had 7 guys in double digits scoring that last night, and that's just a totally different like monster. If you can have that many guys uh, get you buckets, that's so important. And I think as much as I would love to see Colin Sexton like on a contender in the West, like we've talked about with the Timberwolves, he has been so important to this team, like in their bench unit. And so I don't even know if they trade him unless it's for like a high price.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, so I'll have some fun with it. I mean, they're what? They're 2 games back of Atlanta, 2.5 games back of Atlanta, so they can catch them.
All right, I'm switching my pick, and I'm switching the Bulls and the Hornets. I'm not switching the Bucks, but I
Go.
will switch the Bulls and the Hornets because you might have got me onto something here. Um, I did have the Bulls in the play-in and the Hornets in the play-in as well, though.
At the start of the year.
So at the start of the year.
Okay, interesting.
Uh, oh no! I had the Hornets just missing. That's what it was. I had the Hornets just missing, and I had the Bulls in the 9 spot in the East. Okay, so that leaves us with you have the Hawks, the Nets, the Bulls, Wizards, and Pacers as your bottom 5 teams in the East.
Yeah, and we have 2 truly like woeful teams in the Wizards and
Oh, I mean
Pacers.
the Pacers and Wizards are just out of
Yeah,
this world terrible.
yeah, and then the Nets are feisty. They just like don't have much talent. But they're actually kind of fun to watch, and they're pretty feisty. And MBJ's having a great season, but they're clearly in this tier. They're not a playing team. So yeah, I feel comfortable with that bottom tier.
And the other thing with the Nets is like they have guys who will probably get traded at the deadline and like see what they can bring in, whether it be uh, MPJ or Claxton, or even if Cam Thomas somehow gets moved. One of those guys will probably get moved, and after that makes them drop in the standings immediately. Or De'Aaron Sharp. I know he's gotten a lot of attention as
Yeah,
well. Celtics, go get Sharp because we could use a backup big behind Neemias Queta. Love you, Luka Garza, but you're a sweaty mess, and I need a guy who can actually defend and rebound. Okay, the Western Conference. Well, you had 0 contenders. There's no way you can have 0 contenders in the West. So how many contenders do you have in the Western Conference, Adam?
I have 4.
I also have 4. So who do you have?
I mean, clearly the Thunder are still in the absolute
Proud of you. Proud of you.
contender tier. The Denver Nuggets would be my next pick, and I did think about maybe separating those two, but I the more I see these other 2 teams, the more I believe in them as teams that can win the title. So that's
Did
the way
you
I
see
determined.
both these 2 teams live this weekend?
Did. I did just a couple nights ago. I did see these 2 teams play each other. Man, it felt like a playoff game. I hope I'm not getting fooled too much by that. I mean, they also have been playing really well lately.
No, you're not.
Yeah, but that did help, I guess, to kind of solidify my thinking. And so I would go with the Wolves 3rd, Spurs 4th, as kind of my top tier of 4. I think those are the 4 teams that can win the championship this year. I mean, obviously, anybody who makes a playoff can win the championship, but realistically, I think it's those 4 teams that if they get out of the West, I would favor them, obviously. And those are the 4 teams most likely to win the West. The matchups are obviously going to be very interesting to see how this finishes out. The Rockets are still right there record-wise. The Lakers are still right there record-wise. The Suns are not far behind. So a lot can shift between 2 and 7, we'll say. But I think those 4 teams have separated themselves. And the Thunder clearly have separated themselves. Denver is clearly number 2 to me. But I do think the Spurs and Wolves deserve to be in that tier.
A lot of it will come down to home court within these 4 teams
And matchups.
At the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, you only had the Thunder and the Nuggets.
Yep.
I had the Wolves in this tier from the beginning because they started slow and they've picked it up very recently. I mean, over the past 2 months, they've been just a blast to watch. And even that Spurs Wolves game this weekend was holy crap, just a masterclass of just so much fun basketball.
Incredible.
Ant was on another level. Wemby was a blast. I love Wemby's comments after the game talking about these are what you get up for. And then I also have the Spurs. And I think you are not a homer for this. I mean, I'm also taking them, but you shouldn't think you're a homer for thinking the Spurs have played as well, especially after they beat the Thunder 3 times. And like the Thunder, they've also had a little slip up at the end of December. I mean, at the beginning of the year. Feels like every one of these top teams is having some weird losses at the beginning of the year. either conference. And so Minnesota, though, and the Spurs, I think you're right. They're on their own little like tier here, but I mean, mini tier within the contender class. But there is a picture in my mind still of Wemby or Ant holding up the trophy at the end of it all and saying, "We're NBA champs, or we're going to Disney World." So it's like
Yeah,
it's one of those
and
things
like
I
that's
can
not
still
shocking,
picture.
right? Like that's not like,
No,
oh,
no,
what?
no,
That's
no.
yeah.
And that wouldn't shock me. It would shock me if I saw Luka Doncic holding up a title with the Los Angeles Lakers. That would shock me.
Yes,
Um,
Devin Booker with
but
Phoenix. Yes,
don't get me started on Devin Booker and those Phoenix Suns. They're a blast right now.
they are.
But no, I think the Western Conference is in such great hands with these four teams because three of them, Wolves, Thunder, and Spurs, just have young stars or young cores that can be built around. I am very curious, like, just to see how this playoffs go for the Wolves because they have some older guys on their team compared to the other two. I'm curious to see, like, okay, as we get to the deadline, as we get to the buyout market, what guys can they get? Because I think of those four teams, I think they're the team that has the most room for improvement within
Yeah,
that class. So
I would agree.
through acquisitions. Um, the playoff teams. I have two clearly because 4 plus 4, 6 minus 4 is 2. I'll say this: I have the Houston Rockets. I don't have the Los Angeles Lakers though in this tier, and they are a frustrating team to watch night to night because I don't know who's playing between like their three stars. I know Reeves is out for a little bit, and Luka or LeBron. It feels like one of those is out on a back to back. One of those is in. One of those is out. And I have the Phoenix Suns as my second
Nice.
playoff team. Um, they have been they have quickly the Hornets and the Heat for some reason have become my teams on League Pass, and I'm like, if they're playing, I'm watching. Like I want to watch those teams. I don't know what it is about the Heat. I like kind of watching them kind of dismantle themselves or play really well. Like it really depends on the night who they're playing. Like the Thunder game this weekend was a blast. Like them playing the Thunder, and they ended up. I believe they ended up winning. I
They did.
watched the
Yeah,
game.
they beat the Thunder.
They
Yep.
did win. Yeah, they won by 2. And like they're playing the Warriors tonight, and I'm like, this is a team that you're like, okay. They had a really close game against the Celtics, lost that. They had a bad game against the Pacers, got killed, and then they also lost to the Thunder early last week. That's what I was remembering. And then I also know that they beat the Thunder. But it's one of those things like the Heat are a blast to watch right now too. The Suns, no one expected them to be this good. I had them like as a Clark Kellogg tier team, and they have blown me out of the water with how well they've played so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, shocking. I mean, I thought they'd be a little better than their over under. I think I did. I think, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I did pick the over. I thought they were still like, hey, this is, this is like a professional team here, but
Yes.
did not see this coming at all. I would still go Lakers in that last spot. But I'm loving the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns, this is like a classic, like really fun story. Awesome. I hope they make the playoffs. That'd be great. They're probably cannon fodder for these top 2 or 3 teams because they're going to be like the 6 or 7 seed, and they're going to have a really, really tough matchup in the first round. And their just lack of depth is going to show, when it gets time, to play these like super serious teams in the playoff series. But this has been great. Like again, another win for like the league. Like it's just great that we have a team like that's this good instead of kind of like a middling, Clippers or Blazers team that could be kind of in this 7 or 8 spot. I like that it's the Suns and a team that's playing this good that has a new identity. It's got kind of a rebought in Devin Booker, new coach, obviously. Yeah, nothing but positive things to say about the Suns, but I do think I would still slot them in the play-in tier for me. The Lakers, once they get everybody back, surely, could go on a bit of a run. Their roster's not great. I don't think they can win a playoff series unless it's just like a very specific matchup. But I would have them as a 6 team. I think the Rockets are very close to being contender. They're probably like a guard acquisition away from being a contender. They're separate from the Lakers to me, but we got to have a 6th team, so I will go with the Lakers.
So here's my thing. you're right. The Suns' depth isn't great. The Lakers' depth is also dog shit.
No,
Like it's also just like
no,
outside of that
but
starting
their high end
five,
talent is quite a bit higher than the Suns.
absolutely understandable to that. I think the chemistry though that the Suns have is far better than what is going on in LA.
Oh, the Suns are way more fun to watch than the Lakers.
Well,
Way
that
more.
too, but
Yeah.
but it's like they look like they're having a blast out there. And I don't remember which pod I was listening to, and they were talking about it, but it's like you watch them this year and then compare it to last year's team when they looked just absolutely miserable every game. It's crazy. And I think it was probably Bill. But they were like, "What's the biggest like?" We were a playoff team, but we looked miserable every night. To the next year, we're a playoff team, and we are like this excited about being in the playoffs. I wonder what is like the biggest like
Yeah, that's a
roller
good one.
coaster change in that.
Yeah.
Like body language on a bench. Because yeah, this who would have thought Dylan Brooks and a hurt Jalen Green could totally change the Phoenix Suns,
Yeah.
and
Well,
not
it's not
having
like
Brad Beal
like
on your team.
the KD thing is weird because like they, he obviously goes to Houston. He looks great in Houston, and like they look like they have pretty good chemistry, and he's been amazing this year. And like everybody seems to be bought in. They seem to be loving having him on the team. So it's like he obviously was part of the problem in Phoenix, but it doesn't seem like he was the whole problem because he goes to a new situation and he's in a great mood. So it's like, well, maybe it was just a bad mix altogether, And obviously Beal could play a role in that too, and the various coaches they've had over the last few years, like that probably plays a role as well. But yeah, it just it was a bad concoction. It just didn't really mesh at all, and these two teams now do. It's like that trade worked out great for both teams.
Absolutely agree. I think it did work out for everyone, honestly. Okay. So then you have the Suns in the play-in tier. I have the Lakers. Who are your other three play-in teams, Adam?
I mean, it's very boring because I think it's the current standings. I do think the Clippers will probably shoot up and probably pass Portland. They're still 4 games behind the Warriors and Suns, and well, I guess 6 behind the Suns. So I don't necessarily think they can get up to 7 or 8. But the Clippers have, I mean, they've won 6 in a row. They've played much better, 8-2 of their last 10. After just an abysmal start where they just looked miserable. If they keep getting healthy, Kawhi and contributions from all these other guys, Batum has been great. Lopez is starting to play much better than he did to start the season. So
Right.
some of the pieces are starting to fit together. I guess maybe Chris Paul was that negative of an impact because since they got rid of him, they've been much better. Obviously I hate to say it, but that's just the reality. So they're firmly in that play-in tier, and they'll probably, if anything, shoot up the standings. But I don't think they can get to 6 or 7. That's just they're probably just too far behind. They dug themselves too deep of a hole, and there's too many teams you have to pass. Right, it's not just like one team you're chasing. So that's gonna be tough for them. But I do think they're in this tier. So my last question was basically Portland versus Memphis. To me, it's like which direction is Memphis going to go? Are they going to be sellers? Are they going to be buyers? I think this is the end of the cycle for this team, and it's probably time to just cut bait and move forward with the new cycle. I don't know if they want to do that. And when I say that, I say trade Jaren Jackson, see what you can get for both of them, kind of reload. That's kind of what I think this team probably should be doing. I don't know if they're going to do that though. So I will stick with Portland. I think if Portland gets a few of these guys back, because they've done a lot of this winning without some key pieces still. So
Yeah.
if they get some of their main dudes back and Drew plays 20 games in a row, that could really help this team. And I think they could kind of stay in this tier and maybe even hold off the Clippers and grab this 9 spot or even catch Golden State. So let's go. It's boring, but I'll go with the kind of the current standings of Suns, Warriors, Blazers, Clippers.
I mean, I'm going to have the same thing because I agree with you. The Grizzlies to me are the near the bottom in like team chemistry right now. We have Vince Williams and John Morant arguing in Paris before a game, which was
Berlin.
still so crazy. Berlin, thank you. Paris, what am I doing here? Berlin, and so I think Ja is getting traded in the next week or two. Like I think he's on the move. Jaren Jackson getting moved. That is one of those guys. It's like, okay, what is he truly worth on the market? Because who was it? Some former NBA guy was John Wall was talking about it after the game yesterday against the Magic. He's like, I don't understand how he's 7 foot and only averages like 4 or 5 rebounds. Like everyone's been asking that question forever, dude. I'm like, join the club. And so my question in my head is like, okay, what is the market for a big man who can shoot, who can be a really good defensive anchor, but you have to have a group of forwards who can rebound very well, so that way you can still like get rebounds. Otherwise, you're not getting anything. So I'm like, what is the
Yeah.
market for a guy like Jaren Jackson?
Or you play him with like what they're trying to do, when he's rarely healthy, but like playing with the Zach Edey type, right? Like that's like your other
Right?
option. I mean, like Houston with Steven Adams, right? Like that's kind of like a good possibility. I mean, obviously, I don't think like Houston's going to trade for him, but
No.
playing with that type of player kind of gets the most out of him. And look, they may not want to do that because they're selling low on those two guys. Like that might be kind of stupid
Yeah.
in their mind. So I just think this team, it's like, what is this team? You're paying these two dudes a ton of money. There's so many good teams in the West now. It's like I don't really know. Given the way like the NBA is structured, like I hate to say it, but like it may be time to just kind of like cut bait, end of a cycle, move on to the next thing. But they may not want to do that. It's like, hey, let's keep these guys healthy. Let's see if we can grab some more pieces on the margins and go from there. I don't know. They just seem a little bit lost.
They had a great 4 year run. Like
They did.
truthfully, that's what it was, and it was a blast. But honestly, I think the Mavericks will probably end up in higher in the standings than them. And part of me, and we're still waiting to see if Anthony Davis is going to get traded. Like the Mavericks have looked fairly good over the past few games. They've won 3 straight now. They've looked like a great concoction. The team's in Cooper Flags playing pretty well, and there's still the possibility of Kyrie returning this year. So who the heck knows? Um, I still think they had the better chance to beat the Grizzlies to the plan. But I also agree with you. I think it's Lakers, Warriors, Blazers, Clippers in that plan tier. Put them in whatever order you want. Probably Clippers end up higher than the Blazers and the Warriors, just with how well they've been playing. But I will say this again: Drew being back has given the Blazers some sort of like steadying force at the end of these games, and like it's not just Denny or Sharp or Shaden Sharp just sprinting to the basket and trying to draw a foul. Holiday gives them just the adult in the room that they've been lacking for most of this. I mean, whenever he's been out, and so since his return, they've looked very good. Um, Now I'm curious to see how they look whenever Scoot comes back, as we still await for him to play a game this season. So, which is crazy.
That,
I think that's one of the things that's gone under the radar is the fact that we still haven't seen the like Scoot Henderson play this year.
yeah.
And so, very interested to see how that will. Because here's the other thing: the Blazers' depth, like you won't know the depth, but if you watch them, you see how important like guys 4 through 11 are for them. Like, tell me what you know about City Kisco or Cisco.
Yeah, Soko. Well,
Am
he
I
was
pronouncing it?
on the Spurs. He came with Wemby as a fellow
Damn
Frenchman.
it.
So yeah. So I did see him play a couple times. He was mostly on the Austin Spurs, but in the G League. But yeah. I mean, he's been great for them though. I mean, he's like another guy who's like, hey, on the Spurs wouldn't have made any sense this year. He wouldn't have even played at all, But on the Blazers with some injuries, like, hey, got an opportunity and he's taking it and run with it. So good for him. But yeah, I mean, no, they have like pieced it together. I mean, Tiago Splitter as the coach. Obviously, Chauncey's not coming back.
Yep.
They've talked about how they've kind of like cleared out his locker and all that stuff. It's like, all right, that's clearly done. So, perfect time for Tiago to come over. And he thought he was going to be the main assistant, and he, after one game, got a head coaching job in the
He's the
NBA.
main guy.
Yeah, so it's like good for him. But no, they've been impressive. I'm another team that I'm glad we have them. I think we needed kind of another team like that. They're just fun to watch. They play some kind of entertaining games, and on the right night, you watch them and you're like, dude, Shaden Sharp's gonna be a 5-time All-Star. It's like if you see them on the right night, but and then Denny I think will be an All-Star. So yeah, exciting team. I mean, yeah, 8-2 in their last 10. I mean, they've really put it together.
Former St. Louis guy Caleb Love also is the
Yeah,
highest scoring rookie since the start of the new year. He has scored more points than Khan and Cooper Flag.
CBC, right?
Yeah,
Caleb Love.
CBC. Yeah,
Yeah.
he played for Jason Tatum's dad.
Okay.
Whenever before Tatum's dad took a head coaching job in Australia. Um,
Nice.
um, And they still have the corpse of Jeremy Grant, and he's playing pretty well for them this year too. They also have like this collection of bigs, including Time Lord, love you, Duop Reef, and Jan Hansen, just like ready to chill. Like they got four different guys. They're like, hey, how do you want to play tonight? Do you want to play really defensively? Do you want to just like have a guy who can set high ball screens and roll to the rim? We got you. We got you everything except none of them can shoot threes. Just you want
No.
athletic guys? Got you. But yeah, they have a different breed of big men, which is great. They have their options. The Celtics have limited. And then yeah, the bottom of the West, which I think is fairly self-explanatory with like the East. There's the two teams, three teams if you want to count the Jazz, but there's the Kings and the Pelicans who are just in their own 50 under the 50 feet of crap. The Jazz have been playing well. They have like some weird wins. Like their two wins are just weird wins over the past 10. And then the Mavericks and the Grizzlies are like the last two teams that feel like they're kind of competing to make the play in. But we both agree that it doesn't feel like they're going to be in that position come the end of the year.
No, I don't think so. And it's actually, to me, incredibly similar to the East, where it's like two just like truly woeful teams. You have the Jazz who are not good, but at least are fun and like are playing hard and trying and have a really good coach. Now the management is not allowing them to do so because they're obviously have already started the tank in Utah. But
Yeah.
even though they said they were not going to do that, but they clearly are doing
Shocker.
that. So I don't, which I understand why, because the rules of the league, behoove you to do that. But yeah, they're like the Brooklyn of the West, right? It's like, hey, fun team on the right night, they can kind of beat whoever. But and then you have those two teams who are like kind of thereabouts, but like they're not obviously that good in the Mavs and Grizzlies. So yeah, man, the Pelicans, they had that brief little stretch, I think, where they won 3 in a row and then have been just terrible since then. Worst record in the West. They'll probably end up with the worst record in the league, would be my guess, if it's not one of those two Eastern Conference teams. And remember, their pick goes to Atlanta.
God, that's so frustrating. It is so annoying. All that for Derek Queen.
Yep.
Listen, and again, it's not like Derek Queen's played bad. It is
Yeah,
truthfully
it's not
just
his
the
fault.
fact that
Yeah.
you could have picked him before Jeremiah Fears, which people don't think Jeremiah Fears was going to go that early either. So it's
Yeah.
like, the shit are we doing here? And the Kings are just in their own little world. They've had. Here's the thing. I'll give the Kings some credit here. Like, let's say something nice about the Kings. They won 4 straight. They
I
did
know.
win 4 straight, and then they lost to the Blazers yesterday. And they beat the Rockets, the Lakers, the Knicks, and the Wizards. But I mean,
Yeah.
like they beat 3 fairly good teams, and you're like,
But prior to
the hell's
that
going on?
winning streak, which was generally there's some fun games in that. There were 8-30. I mean, 8-30. Like I thought they would be bad. I did not think they'd be that bad. Like that is, they're now 12-31. So it's not like it's much better. But that is just pathetic. I 8-30 for a team with that many high priced guys. That's crazy.
The only team we missed on it feels like bad in the West was the Suns, and then if you basically just flip the Suns and the Mavericks. I think we felt like the Mavericks were going to be better. We felt like, well, maybe they do get better once Kyrie comes back, but we felt like there was a going to be an easier thought process for this team. But then they started playing Cooper Flag at point guard, and then we're like, what the hell are we doing here? And then the Suns have just surprised everyone, it feels like.
I think both those teams, I actually was right on their over-under, but I was wrong on like where I thought, how like I did not think the Mavs would be this poor. I did not think they'd be very good. And I definitely did not think the Suns would be this good, but I did think they were going to be better than like consensus. So yeah, I was like weirdly like half right on those, but no, I thought those records would be much closer, Mavs and Suns than they are.
Absolutely agree. I guess we're here. We're here. We're halfway through the year, and we don't usually do this, but I'm going to ask you it anyways. If you had a finals pick right now, like who are the two teams that are going to be in the finals as of like, if we're projecting today, who would be in the finals?
So preseason, I said Thunder Knicks.
You did.
And I'll whatever predictions are just let's do this for fun. I am now going to go Nuggets Pistons.
I like that. I like that a lot. because when is Jokic coming back? He's soon. Like he's got to be on the right track. Hold on, give me an update here.
Yeah,
Shams,
it was gonna be a month from when he got hurt.
correct. He last week started on court workouts, so that's nice. We have a lot of guys starting workouts this week because Tatum was doing actually practicing with the team today. Shocker.
Wow.
At the same, let me rephrase that: practicing at the same time as the team, not with the team.
Okay. I'm assuming he's not like in 5-on-5, like full like go yet.
Oh no! He's still doing
Yeah.
one-on-ones. He's been doing one-on-ones for like the past month and a half, and I can't wait for the day that I see the tweet Tatum's practicing in 5-on-5s. That be
So
prepared for
okay,
like
so
20 tweets
Jokic,
here
we're
from the
thinking like
contact page.
2 more weeks, like start of February.
I'm hoping for Aaron's case so that whenever the Nuggets come to town and whenever his now future in-laws come to town, that the Nuggets are playing. That
What
Jokic is playing for the Nuggets.
what
That's
day is it?
like beginning of February. It's a Super Bowl weekend. It's like February 8th or 9th or something like that.
Okay, cool.
So maybe 3 weeks at the very most.
Oh, I
Like,
think
let me
yeah, I
double
think
check.
that's safe to assume for sure by the All Star game.
Yeah,
He's back.
February 7th. That's when they come to Bulls. But it's like you would need him. So here's the thing: they have some road trips. So they're playing they're home against LA on Tuesday. Then they have a 3-game road trip out east. They play Washington, Milwaukee, Memphis. Come back home for 4 games, and then they go out on a road trip. And unfortunately, the Bulls are the last game on that road trip. But it is like, okay, maybe you bring him back like while they're home for 4 games. You bring him back like for that, like the third game against the Clippers right before February starts, or you bring him back right against Oklahoma City on in Denver when
Yeah,
Oklahoma City comes to
possibly,
Denver.
possibly. But yeah, we're not
Um,
far away. So no, I think they've moved into when you see them at full strength and like their kind of A game, it's incredibly impressive. So yeah, I'm gonna take a slight lean and go out on a slight limb and say Nuggets over the Thunder in the conference finals.
Nuggets are at the conference final. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep the Thunder in there. Oh well, you know what? Screw it. I'm not saying Thunder. I love you, Evan, but no, I'm not saying Thunder. Adam, for the first time, I'll be going to an NBA Finals game because we're going to go to San Antonio to see the Celtics play the
Come
Spurs.
on.
I,
Oh, Celtics
Adam and I
Spurs would
have
be
the same.
so sick. If that happened, that would
I
be
know.
amazing.
Oh my gosh! Listen, Aaron and I, when we hosted, we had a deal. If the Celtics played the Nuggets in the finals, we're going, and never happened because my team didn't want to show up in 23 and not pull off the greatest comeback and win 4 in a row after being down to 3. And then his team didn't want to show up in 24. So, whatever. Screw that. And so I want it now. I've been to one playoff game and it wasn't even for my team. It was for the Thunder to go see it with Evan. And so I want to go see a playoff game. I've been in my head already planning. I'm like, oh, if the Bucks somehow make it out of the play and make it out of the play-in and make it the 7 seed, could I go see them? But that means them also being one of the top 2 teams in the play-in. So I'm like, gosh, dang it, that can't happen. And so I'm like mentally planning, okay, what's a reasonable game that I could go see? Like, if the Celtics end up as like 2 or 3 seed, I could maybe do Toronto if like Toronto falls. Cleveland would be tough, but it would be just the best if it was Chicago. It'd make it so much my
Oh
life
yeah,
so much
yeah,
easier if it was Chicago.
yeah. Good
So
luck with that.
we'll
Chicago's
we'll
gonna hang
see, but
out.
I'm hoping for Celtics Spurs.
Well, I mean, yeah, that would be just so cool.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for listening to us re-tier the NBA. We're gonna be back next week with more stuff to talk about. But follow us on socials. Go look at stuff on our website. And we hinted at it last week. We're going to hint at it again this week. Where Adam's going to have a new product that he's going to be announcing this week too. So we're excited about that as well. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Go Celtics. Go Spurs. Go Suns. Maybe I
Yeah,
don't know. I
Sun.
feel like we hyped up the Suns.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
go
go Suns.
Suns tonight. We're gonna go with the Suns this evening. Have a great rest of your week, y'all.